All right, our next week in the garden. You can see our lilac plant is still blooming a little bit, but the flowers are starting to die. Everything here is looking the same as it was, and that will be what it is the rest of the year. Except for that hydrangea there in the middle, that'll get bigger. We're going to go around to this side, and you'll see our peony has gotten a lot bigger. And the flowers are going to start to open soon. And we have our little friend here, the ant, who's crawling all over that peony. The ants don't seem to do any damage, so I leave them alone. And if we continue to go around, I'll see that the apple tree has gotten a little bit bushier. And our little apple blossoms are getting a little bit bigger, so that the deer hopefully will stay away. They're high up. I'm hoping these low ones don't get eaten. You can see our blackberry bush is getting a lot bushier, and right here in the middle is a new big stem that we can see, really nice and thick, and that one's coming in. And we have our regular raspberries. They're a little late, but they're coming in. And of course our golden raspberries are also coming in nicely. So hopefully we'll have some berries soon. Our blueberry bush isn't changing very much. We've got a couple of peppers here though. They're still small, but they're coming in. And of course all of our tomato plants. And some of them, this one has gotten a little bit bigger, but they're still working on it. This one seems to have a little yellow flower starting, and that would be the start of a possible tomato. So let's hope that keeps up. We have garlic in this pot, and I showed you this last week. You know, garlic is an herb that people use. We have a couple garlic bulbs growing. There's one, you can see the top of it. There's two more. And hopefully we'll get some more garlic in there. You'll notice we have this spot. It's ready for our next bunch of vegetables. We have our astilbe flowers. And again, they're starting their little flower buds there, you can see. And if we go over here, I showed you the squash before. You can see the squash is getting bigger, and that Asian herb is starting to grow as well. And we have our little side garden here, and that's doing okay. It's of course new plants, so it's not super happy just yet, but we're watering it and hoping it stays nice. Yeah, you can see our lily of the valley and our coral bell garden. You can see a lot of our pretty lily of the valley flowers growing now. I've cut some and taken them inside. They smell pretty too. So they're growing nicely. And of course, our persimmons tree, which has all its pretty green leaves now. There's our fuchsia plant, and you can see it's liking the nice warmer weather and of course the wet weather. And I have lots of pretty hanging purple and red flowers on it now. And a new addition to the garden is radishes. I put them in this tower, and the radishes are doing nicely, and they're going to give me that little red vegetable that people cut up and usually put in salads. So hopefully that'll grow very nicely. You can see there's some small ones. I'm hoping they perk up soon. And of course I put some flowers at the top to make it look pretty. All right, as we come over to our side garden, we have our bachelor's button. And our bachelor's button is growing very nicely. You can see there's a lot of flowers this week. And of course we have our allium flowers that I told you about last week. And they grow nice big giant purple flowers. And our clematis is still growing. You can see it's getting bigger and bushier. And we're getting lots and lots more. I'm going to try and bring this over here so that it has a place to climb. There we go. Here's our other clematis. And the flower is starting to open. The first flower on our clematis. There's a couple here, but this is the first one. It's not fully opened yet, but it's getting there. So hopefully next week we'll see fully opened flowers, because this one and this one, you can see there's a couple flower buds there. And if we go up, there's more flower buds growing, and hopefully we'll have lots of light purple and dark purple flowers growing over here in another week. And there's our mint getting nice and big. This is our side garden again. Not much has changed over here. The balloon flowers have gotten bigger, and that's about it. And our lemon balm, which is an herb, has gotten bigger. And of course our lilies have grown a little bit taller. And our other flowers hanging off the archway are filling in the box. Now we've moved things around in the herb garden. You'll see there's this big tall tree in the back. That's a lemon tree. And we have all the other herbs, and you can see they're starting to fill in the pots and get nice and big and bushy. And I'll be using these to cook with all summer. I'll come out, I'll cut the tops off of them, and I'll cook with them. And the last part that we're going to look at is that side garden with a lot of our vegetables in it. If we come in here, you'll see I have potatoes growing. Our potato plants came back after all that cold, and we have tomato plants growing over here. And then over here we have our eggplant. Unfortunately, our pumpkins did not survive that cold weather. Sorry guys, I tried, but the pumpkins didn't like cold weather. They're not the only things that didn't survive. Our cantaloupe over there didn't do well either. And we have some eggplant. Here's a new one. These will grow to be carrots. These are those vegetables that you eat at home. Usually you buy them without the green tops, but you can find them. We have several here, and in here we put seeds so more grow. We have our endive, which is a type of lettuce. Here we have our jasmine plant. That's a new one that you haven't seen. That one's growing in my house. We brought it out here to put in a bigger pot because it was too small, and now we have this beautiful white flower on there that has a very nice scent to it. You can see our squash. It's been very happy with the rain. And we have our yellow squash and our green squash. And we have our okra, but the okra isn't doing very well. We're hoping, but it still isn't. And we have our hot peppers. And there's our watermelon. Those have decided to do pretty well. And there's our cabbage. Cabbage is doing okay too. And we have our pear tree, and here you go. We've got those little apples, Asian apple pears starting. We have our sweet potatoes. They weren't doing well before, but they're doing much better now. And so we have sweet potatoes that are going to grow. And the new thing we added this week is strawberries. You can see some of those red berries on there. So now we have some strawberries that I can pick and eat. You can see our pea plants have gotten a lot bigger. So we've got peas and we've got green beans. I'm going to be growing some more beans later. And we have our Brussels sprouts, which are doing well. And our lemongrass, which we hope comes back. We have cucumbers in the back, celery in the middle, and you can see lots of lettuce along the front. Hopefully these lettuce plants I can start picking off of very soon. So that is what we're growing here in this big garden. And hopefully we'll have lots of things to eat in just a little while.